Hey, Brad, what's going on?
If you in the hood.
Did I wake you up?
No, I'm just laying in bed.
Okay. I'm filming a video about the supermoto, and I wanted to get what's your opinion on the big supermotos, like the big 700 cc's, like the 701 and the 698?
They're not real supermotos.
Why do you say that?
Because they're not, by definition. A supermoto is a race dirt bike with street tires. That's a supermoto.
Okay.
Those things are like, I don't know what they are. They're hybrids, and they're way heavier.
Yeah, but they're still lighter than like a typical street bike. What would you call them then? Like, what's your definition of them?
I don't know. I don't even know what they're called. I mean, they're called supermotos, but the original definition of supermoto was a race dirt bike with street tires. So I don't know what they're called. I think they're called what they're called, like a 701 and a 690 and a...
We got to do a video of me putting knobbies on it and trying to take it off road.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Okay, well, thank you. I just wanted to call and get your opinion because your opinion matters, and I think that you're one of the big guys. Like, you're still one of the big YouTubers that still ride a supermoto. So this is my Ducati Hyper 698. I'm going to describe to you in this video why I've chosen the Ducati supermoto over any of the other kinds of supermotos, such as Japanese 450s, dirt bikes that are turned into street bikes, into supermotos, which are the true definition of a supermoto, and also why I've chosen this specific bike over the only other bike in its class, the Husqvarna 701 / the KTM 690, whatever. So we're gonna get into that in 3, 2, 1, let's go. Today, I have figured out that the Wi-Fi here is absolute booty cheeks, and I'm trying to upload a bunch of videos and content and stuff, but it's not working because the Wi-Fi here is terrible. But just so you understand the living situation of a biker at an Airbnb, here's my awesome little bed right here. Here's all my biker stuff, more biker stuff. Biker shoes, I'm just going out in tennis shoes. I know this is not smart, but oh well. Dirty laundry, ew, gross. Bathroom, gross. And I just have charging stuff and batteries littered throughout the area. Not probably the greatest setup of all time, and I know I'm probably gonna be judged, but oh well, this is my life. Out here's my lovely view here in Escondido, California. And just with a brief walk over here, we have the Ducati 698, baby. Yeah! She looking good and spiffy, man. I gave her a nice little, wash kind of last night. I just kind of sprayed her down, tried to clean the wheels the best I could. Obviously, it's an imperfect process, but I don't have access to an actual wash station out here, so this is the best she's gonna get. Anyway, my plan is for right now, I'm just gonna go find a cafe or something where I can grab a bite to eat, get some food, get some Wi-Fi mainly, maybe some more caffeine, some little extra caffeine, and then I'm gonna hit up CJ and we're gonna see if we can try to film some videos today. You guys ready for this? Let's go. Cold start of a Ducati 698 after it's been sitting outside all night in the freezing cold. Bikes parked out there. It was a lovely little ride over here to McDonald's just so I could try to make sure I upload my videos for today. The Wi-Fi at the Airbnb is a little bit boofy, but I'm not complaining. It gives me an excuse to go get some french fries. Yum, 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 yum. Man, she looks good out here in California, bro. I can't believe that they just have these mountains and hills out here and they just decide to build a freaking McDonald's right here. This bike is so good. I feel bad that some of the stickers, if you look really close, they're not sticking terribly well, but from afar, you can't tell me that this isn't one of the coolest looking supermotos of all time. The only things that this bike has is the full pipe. I'm pretty sure it's stainless steel pipes with a titanium end piece. It has the tail tidy on the end with these turn signals integrated up in the top. And I have these low profile mirrors that basically make it impossible to see anything out of. They are there, so it is technically legal here in California. I'm still rocking the stock tires on this bike, which are honestly pretty good, Rosso 4s. And that's pretty much it. That's the entirety of the build on my supermoto. This bike comes out of the box pretty powerful and ready to go. There's not much you can really have to do to it. It's just cool that Ducati is one of the only manufacturers on the market that's offering a factory supermoto that they also honor a full 2-year warranty on. Most other manufacturers, you have to buy a dirt bike and then convert it into the street, which it costs a lot of money. Honestly, can cost just as much money as just buying this and also makes less power. Yeah, they're typically lighter weight, but I think anything lighter than this bike, you're going to start having stability problems on the highway, which most of those other bikes can't even go on the highway anyway, so this bike has the advantage of being able to be ridden literally everywhere, so that's why I'm just such a massive fan of this bike. I think it's literally one of the best bikes ever made, just in my opinion. Now this motor is actually based off of the Ducati V2, which that bike is based off of the old Panigale Superbike. You know, the bike that Ducati used to take racing in World Superbike, that had one cylinder chopped off and turned into one cylinder. Now obviously there's a lot more engineering actually involved in that, but I'm not an engineer, so I'm not going to get into it. But I can tell you, as a previous owner of a Ducati V2, this bike shares a lot of similarities with that motor. That is, but not limited to, kind of weird cold startups sometimes. And the fact that this bike sometimes likes to stall out while riding it around. You have to ride it in a certain way in order to adjust that. And I don't know if that's just a characteristic of the one cylinder, but I can tell you a lot of these characteristics I used to see on my old Ducati V2. It's nothing that's like bad for the bike or anything, but you can just hear the little thump of that giant one-cylinder motor. So if you are in the market for a bike like this, or if you've never even considered a bike like this, let me just warn you up front and just to be as transparent as possible. This is not a smooth motorcycle by any stretch of the imagination. I commonly compare this bike to the feeling of riding a 1000cc superbike, and for good reason. This is a characteristic of all supermotos. Because they're so light and nimble and so spirited, you can throw them around and it feels like riding a superbike at 200 miles an hour, but you're doing these speeds at much lower speeds. Not to mention super high up ground clearance, so I can hit bumps like I just hit right back there, and you barely notice them. Meanwhile, you have suspension, at least on this bike, that is able to master the corners like these with ease. Woo! Really makes this bike one of the greatest bikes of all time. This and the Husqvarna 701, again, are the only bikes in this class of these giant thumpers. Now, if Yamaha and Kawasaki came out with giant thumpers of their own, it would be a lot easier for me to sit here and be like, okay, let's compare this directly to bikes in the same class. But the fact of the matter is, this bike is just in a class of its own with the Husqvarna, and this class, I'm sorry to say, in my opinion, is better than buying and building out a 450 Supermoto for yourself. Woo! I felt my foot spin. But see that little yellow circle right there? That means I'm not riding with any electronics at all. Wheelie control off, traction control off. ABS is on too, but you know, ABS is different. Oh man, every corner you see on this bike, you can just cut it up, bro. I get it, I love sport bikes just as much as the next guy, but the old 600s of days past, like the R6, the CBR 600, the ZX6R gets an exception because it has more torque, but they just aren't enthusiastic to ride. When bikes like this that are cheaper exist, it's just hard to argue for that. I turned off the camera on the highway because I didn't want to annoy you guys with the wind noise, but I know a lot of moto vloggers do that. They run cameras on the highway and try to talk about complex issues while also screaming over wind noise. I'm sorry, I don't want to do that to you guys. Another benefit to supermotos is actually the gas mileage. Since they are one cylinders, and you are once again, a con to this specific supermoto is the stupid gas cap. I wish Ducati would quit doing it. But the gas mileage, because it's only one cylinder, you're having the same amount of fun as a superbike, like I mentioned before, but it's only one cylinder. So you're getting the advantage of one cylinder gas mileage while also having just as much fun as having four cylinders. And look at that, only costs $10 to fill up with California premium gas prices, by the way. 91 octane, $5 a gallon. Oof. It's actually not that bad compared to what it's been in the past with Cali, but another really sick advantage to supermotos, on top of all these modifications are really cheap on a bike like this, and even cheaper on the Husqvarna 701, is the fact that all these panels on at least my specific bike are super cheap from Ducati. They're not painted from the factory, so underneath all of these stickers are unpainted red panels that Ducati sells. You can buy them again if you want for really cheap. Now, I guess on the newer models, a bunch of people must have complained, Ducati owners most likely, complained that those panels are not painted, and so I believe in the newer gens in the 2025, they started painting them, and so that's probably going to increase the price of the replacement panels, which I think is really stupid. In my opinion, this is an advantage of having unpainted panels on a street bike, because when you actually ride your motorcycle's crazy thought, things tend to get scratched up and dinged and bent. And so it's nice to have things be cheap to replace rather than be expensive up front. Now, I don't know what the Husqvarna does, so I can't really speak to that. Not every bike needs to have like insanely expensive panels. I don't know. I bought this one with the intention of like, I'm gonna ride the crap out of it. It's gonna get a ton of miles on it. I'm going to want to replace things over time. And so, like, it's nice that I can put stickers on this and know that I can just replace the panels if and when I want to. I don't know. I just hope Ducati kind of reverts on that and goes back to just making unpainted panels. Who am I to judge? I don't know. Now, one last point I want to make about this specific supermoto, why I bought the 698 over the 701. So, all right, watch this. California, dude, you guys are going to be jealous. This is crazy. I listen, to me, I get people living in California, like, this is normal to them. This is just, like, normal California activities. To me, this is pretty cool, dude. I don't know. Lane splitting makes me so happy. I think it's awesome. Or lane filtering. I'm sorry. This is very safe. Lane splitting is on the highway, splitting in between cars, but I still don't know how to. That's legal here too. I don't know how to feel about that, but lane filtering, dude. Oh my God, give me that all day. I think it makes riding a motorcycle just so much more special. And also way more practical because you're not holding up traffic. But like I said, one last thing about this specific bike, why I bought the 698 over the 701. And that's just going to be, I hate to say it, reliability. I know, crazy, right? I bought a Ducati for its reliability over a Husqvarna. And that is because Ducati built this motor based off of the Ducati V2. Now, the Super Quad motor isn't known for being Ducati's most reliable motor. However, they don't burn oil. So if something breaks, it's going to be fixed by warranty. Burning oil on a vehicle is a lot harder to prove and then get covered under warranty. And so when given the decision between this bike and the Husqvarna 701, I chose this bike. Agreement, or whatever you want to call it. Now, I bought this bike at MSRP. Ducati, unfortunately, does not offer a lot of discounts on these bikes. Now, in terms of my Ducati 698, I, of course, have the stickers all over the bike. I think everybody can probably tell that. I have the Ducati offered full exhaust for this bike, and the reason I went with the full exhaust is because even though you're paying a little bit more money for an exhaust, this exhaust costs, I think, around $3,000, you are maintaining the full factory warranty. So if I have any problems with this bike, Ducati will offer their warranty for this bike. There's absolutely no question since it's a factory tune. It also comes with an air filter and, of course, like I mentioned, the tune. So you are paying for that as well. I've also added a quick shifter to this bike, which Ducati offers, again, from the factory. I also, of course, have a tail tidy with this bike. It is just a nice 90-degree angle on that plate. A Japanese supermoto, yeah, you can probably buy a used 450 for 7-8 grand. But how much money are you going to spend to make that bike street legal? You have to get new wheels, new tires, turn signals. You have to pay for the registration to get everything actually street legal. You have to pay the person to, like, check out your bike, make sure it has turn signals before you can get it checked off, that you can actually get registration and plates for the bike. And this bike has some things that those bikes just cannot.